Well, hello everybody. This is Timothy Green with the Rattle Magazine. Welcome to the Rattlecast. We're the biggest freewheeling live streaming poetry podcast on the planet, in your ears and on your laptops. Our guest today for episode number 316 is J.R. Solonche. She'll be with us in a few minutes, but before we get in, I should say that Rattle is a publication of the Rattle Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit working to promote the practice of poetry. We've been a continuous publication since 1995 and are unaffiliated with any other organization. We just do all of this because we love poetry. I know you do, so please do click on that like button and share. Make sure you're subscribed. Ring the bell for notifications. Leave reviews on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. And help spread poetry around the planet, which makes the world a better place. And we hope you participate by doing that. And tell your friends that you enjoy the Rattlecast. Anything you can do to help share is much appreciated and all we ask on this wonderful evening. Now we're going to start out like we always do with our Poets Respond poem for this week. Eric Bliman, the poet of Intransigence, has a class right now and is teaching, right? So he can't be here, but we're going to share his poem for him. And I'm going to read his note first. So here's Eric's note that he included with the poem. He said this. Let me shrink it down. He said, this poem is responding to the news that a Manchester laser clinic is offering half-price removal of Harry Potter-themed tattoos. Something about the thought of people who loved the films and books going so far as to remove the marks of their former fandom from their skin struck a deeply sympathetic nerve with me. Of course, this news comes weeks after the author's denunciation of Emma Watson, who stands up for communities whose identities the author called into question, in a brilliant piece by George Saunders on what to do about books we love by authors whose behavior is distasteful, creepy, or criminal. For years now, a little tower of HP novels in my hallway has grown dusty from the lack of use and indecision about whether and how best to dispose of, keep, or donate them. I don't know the answer. I suppose that, even unread and currently unloved, it might be considered a tiny paper monument to radical acceptance and also a trip hazard. So there we go. That's Eric Bliman's poem or note about the poem, and here he is reading Intransigence.
Intransigence. Time will tell whether I've got this wrong. Rowling, USA Today, 2023. But now she says, we're all just passing through some fad that time will teach us to outgrow. As if our lives were shapeless, ragged clothes, a hateful fashionista might well choose to donate to Goodwill. As one might do with t-shirts, experts say, old folks don't wear. Full garbage bags of magic used up gear. Stuffed down that iron throat or mailbox flue, where we send things we want to disappear. Old paperbacks of teenage wizard school, whose cracking spines all slowly come unglued as we grow old. Tattoos we wish were clear. For we don't choose what makes us you and me. A kiss you can't put down which authors you. Some early works by mirthless assholes who attempt to cancel our humanity. Which makes us want to donate our old eyes that loved the films and hurt ourselves for liking. Some 7-volume spill of bottled lightning, which helped us once, ourselves, to realize.
Yeah, so once again, that was Eric Bliman reading Intransigence. That was Sunday's Poem of the Day on Rattle.com. If you have any poems about current events, it's our mission to keep poetry relevant and relating to what the international discussion is talking about. All you have to do is submit your poems by Friday night at midnight, and we'll publish at least one every Sunday. Sometimes in midweek we publish them too, and it's just a great way to keep poetry part of the conversation. And if you'd like to get those poems by email and you don't, all you got to do is go down to the bottom of the page at Rattle.com, sign up for the daily poem by email. You'll get that along with another poem every day, often from our back issues and current issue. So do check that out if you haven't yet. Now we're going to take a quick break and go to our main guest, J.R. Solonche. So sit tight and we'll be right back with a lot more poetry. And we're back. Thanks for your patience. Like I said, today's guest is J.R. Solonche. J.R. has published poetry in more than 500 magazines, journals, and anthologies since the early 70s, including 5 times in past issues of Rattle. He's the author of 40 books of poetry, most recently Barren Road. Professor Emeritus of English at SUNY Orange. He lives in upstate New York. And here he is, J.R. Solonche. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Thank you very much. I am doing quite well so far. I have to tell you and everyone else that I am now 11 minutes past my bedtime here on the East Coast, but I will persevere and I will not fall asleep until 9 o'clock. I assure you.
Well, thanks so much for being here and joining us. I've really been such a fan of your work. I love that a bunch of the poems have real epigrammatic quality that's so memorable. One of my favorites is The Lover of Stone, which we share sometimes, and that style of writing that you have, and then how varied your work is too, and how much you do. But you've always been kind of a mystery to me. I haven't seen much outside of that, so I'm really, really fascinated to get to know you a little bit better. Do you want to start out, I think, with that first poem we published in Rattle back in 2001, I think it was.
Really? Was it that long ago? Okay.
I think it was, yeah.
You're probably right. Well, I like being a mystery. You may not like it, but I think there's something to be said for mysteries, especially when it comes to mysterious poets and mysterious poems and mysterious poetry. In any case, apropos of making poetry relevant and keeping it part of the dialogue, this is a dialogue, part of the conversation. This is a dialogue with my daughter through the window of her dollhouse. The days never end, but people end, right? My daughter asked me this today. Dazed by her question, my mind goes blank. I stare. Then I say, yes, people end. All people end when they're old. It's called death. Days never end, though, because days are not people who have blood and bones and skin. And never mind, she says, going back to the people in her dollhouse, bending their arms, the right leg, the left leg, to seat each one in a chair. But this explanation will not be the end of it. I know there will be other days, tomorrow perhaps, when she will take me unaware with, why do people end? Will mommy end? Will you end? Will I end? So I'll have to get it right. I'll have to clear my throat, sigh, as wise people sigh before I say, Emily, you must never doubt that God made people end to fill the endless days in heaven. Then she'll ask about heaven, and right away I'll be in trouble, because I'll never be convincing about a place where people have wings and play harps, a place without days and nights, or of just one day without end. Even if satisfied with that, she'll want to know where it is, and about God, and what gives God the right to make us do anything he pleases, as though people were dolls and the world a dollhouse. At my wit's end, I'll probably blurt out something I'll regret for days, such as God's like a person, but we really can't compare God to a person because God, will never end as people do. To which she'll say, so the days are like God then, because the days don't end either, right, Dad? I will smile in despair. I will smile and nod and hope she never asks again. I will watch her play with her people, watch her bend their wooden heads to the left and the right.
Yeah, beautiful poem by J.R. Solonche. There's a dialogue with my daughter through the window of her dollhouse. And yeah, I think that was 2000, maybe 4, but it was a while ago.
It was quite a while ago, indeed.
Yeah, and what I mean by mysterious
is a lot older now than she was when we were playing.
Yeah. What I mean by mysterious is that you just keep coming with really interesting poems, and then don't have like a social media presence or don't sort of push them very much. And So it's really interesting. You're author of so many books and so many poems in so many places. I'm curious, how did you get into poetry? You've been publishing more than 500 magazines and journals over the last 50 plus years. How did you start out?
I started out by hating poetry, or I should say, by ignoring poetry and giving it no mind until my senior year in high school. My teacher, Mr. Feinberg, was a poet, and he would bring his poems to class to read to us. And what impressed me more than that was that he was a college football player. He was a lineman for, I forget the college he attended and the college team for which he played, but he was either defensive lineman or offensive lineman in college. And that impressed me a hell of a lot. And I said, well, this is very interesting to me because I never associated an athlete with a poet like that before. And he challenged us. He dared us, didn't dare us, he assigned a poem. He wanted everyone in the class to write a poem, bring it in and read it. So I said, I'm going to do that for Mr. Feinberg. And I did. And that was the first poem I ever wrote. And he thought enough of it to have me get up in front of the class and read it. And that, So thank you, Mr. Feinberg, very much for getting me started on this amazing journey through poetry land.
What do you think was the thing that you loved about it that made you fall in love from that first poem?
The sound, the music of it. I played the trombone in middle school and in high school and beyond. I actually majored in music education in college, and I was always attracted to music as my first love, my first passion, my first love was always music, and the sound of the words was the music. I heard the words. Before I understood what the words actually maybe meant, I understood what they were saying because of the sound of them. And it's still that way to me too. I wasn't very good as a musician. I never became a professional musician. I never taught music, even though I had a degree in music education. But the next best thing to music is poetry. Poetry is the music of the language. It's the music of words. Robert Frost said it's the sound of sense. I would go beyond that and say it's the music of sense. It's not just the sound of sense. It's the music of sense. So it's what it is. It's the music.
I love that phrase. Yeah, the music of sense. That's I might have to start using that.
Or it could be the music of nonsense too.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And let's hear another poem, JR.
All right, this one's called The Poem of the Future. But since I wrote it a long time ago, in fact, I wrote it in 2017, I guess this is the future. So maybe I should rename it The Poem of the Present. But when I wrote it, it was The Poem of the Future. It was 8 years ago. The poem of the future will be smaller. It will fit in the palm of your hand, on your wrist, in your ear. The poem of the future will not need bulky batteries or cumbersome wires. It will be powered by moonlight and weed. The poem of the future will be automatic. It will go for months without routine maintenance. It will be faster, smoother, with a digital tick. The poem of the future will be lighter. It will be made of plastics and exotic metals. It will be available in hundreds of shapes and colors. The poem of the future will make our lives true. It will perform in a second what it takes the poem of the present a day to do. The poem of the future will talk to us. It will say things like, "Bye, IBM, be my friend," and "Pulvis," et umbra sumus.
And that was The Poem of the Future by J.R. Solonche. And we've already seen your forms and some spins on forms too. I mean, I'm not sure if there's a name for that. That's very Villanelle-like. And then the other one was very Sestina-like.
Yes, Sestina Light. It was Sestina Light, Lite. Not quite a Sestina because it lacks the envoi, the three-line stanza at the end. And it also messes around with the interior, but it is based on 6 words. It's very much, I gave up before I was able to. But you're absolutely right. And the one I just read, The Poem of the Future, it's not a villanelle. It really, it doesn't conform to any given form, any form that I'm aware of. But it does have a rhyming scheme involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller ear, need, weed, automatic tick, lighter colors, true, do, and us sumus. By the way, the last line, of course, it's Latin. Pulvis et umbra sumus. It comes from Horace, and it means we are nothing but dust and shadow. So it does take a dark turn at the end.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask about your use of forms in writing and how often you move through different things. I mean, your New and Selected is full of like pretty much everything you could possibly write, every style and form and shape, and free verse too. And I'm really interested in how both prolific you've been as a poet, and consistently prolific, and also your use of forms and your movement through them. How do you approach what form a poem will be in and what direction you're going to go with it? Do you tend to write in a certain kind of form for a period of time and then you switch forms, or are you jumping around
It's
from
not
poem to poem?
premeditated.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes I will say, God damn it, I'm going to write a sonnet now. Or God damn it, I am going to write a pantoum. Or God damn it, I'm going to write a villanelle. But most often, the first line or two will determine the course of the poem thereafter. Again, it depends, but also depends on the music. It depends on the motif, on the theme, on the melody, on the harp. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see myself more as a composer than a poet. Does this make sense? I don't know, because I wish I had been a composer.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do my life over again, I would be a composer and not a poet. This is the second next best thing as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I can definitely relate to that. I feel like I always think about how I spent so much time playing baseball when I was a kid and a teenager, and if I'd picked up a guitar then, maybe I would have gone in that direction instead of meeting through guitar.
I blame my mother for not giving me piano lessons. Got it? Understood?
Exactly. Well, let's do that. Let's blame our parents for the poetry. But so it definitely makes sense to think about poems as a composer would music, because there's such a similarity there between the way sound generates, and that's how I feel like I write too. That the first line tells you the kind of the pattern that's going to be repeated and riffed on and played later. And so it's like that, like once you have the first sentence, it's sort of like cascades out from that in the direction that the poem wants to be, it seems like.
Yes.
And I guess that's the way
for you. The
poem
does have a mind of its own. I mean, you can fight with it and wrestle with it and arm wrestle and sumo wrestle and just try to do jujitsu with your poem. But your poem's always going to win. At least it should. I mean, the poem should always win. If it doesn't, you got a problem. You don't want the poem to lose. You want the poem to win.
Well, say more about that. I'm curious about that metaphor. So how do you go about letting the poem win? I mean, what more specifically do you mean by that?
That's a good question. I just, I surrender. Here, go ahead, do whatever you want. No, I can't really explain that as cogently as I would like to. I mean, a poem is a living thing, and it's an organic thing. Well, that I just contradicted what I said about composing. No, but that's not true. I didn't contradict myself. let's go on to the next question, shall we?
Well, I think maybe to get deeper in this, I read a line from one of your poems that I pulled out because it was so interesting. You said, in poetry, there are no wrong words. There are only
Only
sour
wrong notes.
notes.
Only
Yeah.
sour notes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are no wrong words, only sour notes. Yes, well, that goes back to exactly what I've been saying now about the music. Yeah, there are no wrong words. There's no such thing as a wrong word. I mean, in the English language, if you look at the OED. The OED has like what, 400,000 words in English that goes back to the origin of English, and none of them are wrong. But when you want them to come together in a poem, some of them sound sour, right? They're off key. The sour notes.
Yeah.
That's the sour notes. Yeah.
Well, how do you develop the ear for that? I guess is the biggest question. When I'm reading submissions, the metaphor I always use is reading submissions is sort of like tuning through an old fashioned radio dial. We just have a knob and it's like static, static, and then you get to one place and there's some talk. You're like, well, that's something, and they keep doing, and then bam, there's a music channel, and it's music,
Oh,
and
I like
you know,
that.
and it's a small percentage of the submissions that have the music, but as soon as you read two sentences, you can hear that somebody has an ear for the music of the language that we're speaking, and that is the first thing that you're listening for reading submissions. Is just that anywhere, but the first
I
step
have
is
to
just
read
that,
it out
yeah.
loud. When you're writing a poem, you can actually recite it out loud while you're in the midst of writing it. And then as soon as you hit that sour note, go back. A poem's not done until you've read it out loud to yourself and have somebody else read it out loud to you.
Mhm.
There's an old, there was a Japanese Zen uh, haiku poet. I don't, I don't know which one it was, who said every haiku that he wrote had to be read 3 times out loud, once to himself, once to the emperor, and once to a child. And only after there was some consensus among the 3 listeners to your poem did you know that you got the haiku correctly. So I don't have an emperor to read a haiku to or a poem to. And my daughter's now all grown up, so I don't have a child to read it to. So I have to find 2 other people to read my poems. After I read it to myself, I still have to read it to 2 other people. And yeah, it's poetry is not a poem is not just the two-dimensional, black on this. It's more than that. It's the whole.
Hmm.
You have another question?
Well, I think next up, let's read another poem.
Oh, let's read another poem. That's a great idea. This is called Banks.
Mm-hmm.
In the Chase Manhattan Bank branch on the corner of 235th Street and Johnson Avenue, I have changed my mind about banks. I never used to like banks. I despised banks. Now I like banks. I like standing in the cool lobbies of banks. I like the brass stanchions and the velvet ropes that are swagged between them that you must follow to the teller's windows, as though through a maze. I like the ballpoint pens chained to the counters where you fill out deposit slips and withdrawal slips. I like the blue deposit slips and the pink withdrawal slips. I like the look on the faces of the tellers, especially when there are many customers waiting. They are the concentrated faces of efficiency. I like to say something pleasant and polite and civil to the tellers when it is my turn at the window. Their gratitude is palpable. It shows on their efficient faces, and I like that. I like being a number. I like being several numbers. I never thought I'd like being a number, but I do. I like being a number and a face without a name. It is such a pleasure not having a name for a little while during the day. How tiring it is to answer to a name all the time. I like the air-conditioned, clean smell of banks. I like the brand new bills they give me. I like the way they smell and feel and look. They remind me of the brand new books they gave me in school that I was the first to use. I like the word. I like the sound of the word bank. It's the sound the vault makes when it's shut and locked. I like to look at the big vault door. I like the shiny brushed steel of it. I like the solidity of it, the indestructibility. I like the enormous tumblers of the locks. I like the timing mechanism in its glass case. I like the handle, big as the handle on the airlock of a submarine. The door looks strong enough to keep out death. Master thief, genius of safe crackers. That was an interesting Freudian slip. The door looks strong enough to keep out death. Master thief, genius of safe and self crackers. I do not like death.
That was Banks by J.R.
Oh,
Solonche.
Banks.
Yeah.
Of course, this is written quite a few years ago when banks actually were like this. They're not like this anymore.
Yeah. So you've been, Joel, publishing, poems for a long time, and over 50 or 500 magazines, journals, and anthologies. It says, 40 books of poetry. What's your sense? I'm curious about your sense of the arc of poetry as part of our culture over time. As a running a nonprofit and publishing a magazine, making podcasts, something I worry about constantly. And then, AI coming in and messing things up even more. And how do you feel like the poetry world has changed over the last, 50 years you've been doing this? I know it's a broad question, but as far as audience and appreciation of poetry, what's the trajectory do you think we're on?
That's the trajectory this way. Is more poetry being read? I should say more poetry is being written now than ever. Of course, that means there's more good poetry being written, and there's also more bad poetry being written. More people are writing poetry. More people are writing poetry who should not be writing poetry. More people are publishing poetry who should not be publishing poetry. I don't want to get into the politics of this, so I won't. But there's a lot of politics in poetry now that never was before.
Mm-hmm.
I call it, some people call it political correctness. I call it poetical correctness. Poetical correctness. Think about that for a moment. Poetical correctness.
Yeah, well, definitely, it's been a big difference. Even in, we talked about Poets Respond at the top of the show, like we always do. And at that time, it was still almost taboo to even try to write poems about politics. I mean, obviously, some poets always did, going back a long way. And, in the 70s, there was no difference there. There's some poets doing it, but it just is not the degree that's the topic at hand. There seems to be a lot more variety. And over the last 10 years, it's become a really political thing in so many ways. And I wonder, why do you think that is? Why is the tide changing in that direction? And why is that not a good thing, I guess?
Because I'm an old dead white man. That's no, I think it's great that there are more people appreciating writing and involved in poetry. I think it's wonderful, but I think we have to be more discerning. We have to be more discerning now as to what is worth our time and what is not. I'm just going to continue to do what I do, and I have people, I have an audience, who like what I'm doing, and so I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, it seems, the emphasis, when I fell in love with poetry, it was the idea of having this, like you called it before, the the music of what was the phrase? The music of sense? Is that what you said?
Music of sense, yeah.
Yeah. That it was that. It was discovering things deeper than you could sort of rationalize through the power of the music itself, with such the emphasis and what I cared about. It was that sense of discovery and finding something surprising. And I think so much of what's written nowadays comes from a perspective of I already know what I want the conclusion to be. It seems like that's what it is. It's writing, and that's why to me I have a phrase I say that poetry is the opposite of propaganda, because having a preconceived, and it works on a neurological level even, because really what you want to propagandize, and there's good propaganda and bad propaganda, but it's preconceived notions of things. It's the structure that you already understand that you're trying to spread to other people. Whereas to me, the poetry that I love is the poetry of, I don't know what the hell I'm thinking or what I know, or I just have this weird feeling and I'm trying to figure out what the hell it is. And this way of making myself sing within the language reveals something to me sometimes. and that's the magic and the mystery of it. And outside of that, I just don't really care. And that's, I guess, the problem.
Well, this brings up the difference between prose and poetry. Prose is a means to an end. Prose is using the language, is using words, is using language as a means to an end. Poetry is the end in itself. Poetry doesn't use. Poetry is the word, is the music. It is the end. It is not a means to anything. Poetry is not a means. Poetry is an end in itself. Prose, on the other hand, is a means. I also like to use the metaphor of windows. Prose is a window, a plain, ordinary, transparent window that you look through. You look through it. You don't see the glass. You're not supposed to see the glass. You're supposed to see what's on the other side of the glass and pay no attention to the glass. That's prose. What kind of window would poetry be then? Stained glass. Poetry would be a stained glass window in a church or any kind of stained glass window. And when you're looking, you're not looking through the stained glass window as you would be in a prose window. You're looking at the stained glass window. The stained glass window is the end in itself, not the means beyond it. The poem is the end in itself. And yeah, I think you used the word propaganda. I think that's exactly the right way to describe what we're looking at these days. More than it's always been around. I mean, poetry has always been used as a way to convince or persuade as a means of but it's much more pervasive now. I think people. I like what you said about poetry not being propaganda, not being forced to do something it doesn't want to do.
Going right back to what you said.
Does not want to be propaganda, and you shouldn't force it to be.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree, and maybe that's why I love reading your poems so much. Let's hear another one, JR.
All right. Well, this one is called Advice. I had a lot of fun writing this one. Well, I try to have fun most of the time. And I did have with this one. I got a little carried away, I think. You can stop me whenever you want. When you've had enough advice, you just go like this. This is the universal cutoff. Advice. Live in the moment, my mother told me. So I lived in the moment. Live for the moment, my father told me. So I lived for the moment. Live at the moment, my grandfather told me. So I lived at the moment. Live around the moment, my grandmother told me. So I lived around the moment. Live with the moment, my uncle told me. So I lived with the moment. Live beyond the moment, my other uncle told me. So I lived beyond the moment. Live against the moment, my cousin told me. So I lived against the moment. Live above the moment, my girlfriend told me. So I lived above the moment. Live about the moment, my basketball coach told me. So I lived about the moment. Live along the moment, my English teacher told me. So I lived along the moment. Live despite the moment, my rabbi told me. So I lived despite the moment. Live outside the moment, my cardiologist told me. So I lived outside the moment. Live per the moment, my financial advisor told me. So I lived per the moment. Live within the moment, my lawyer told me. So I lived within the moment. Live through the moment, my therapist told me. So I lived through the moment. Live below the moment, the bartender told me. So I lived below the moment. I was confused. So I read a book by a famous Zen monk. Live as the moment, the famous Zen monk said. So I lived as the moment. I was still confused. So I read a book by a different famous Zen monk. Live without prepositions, the different famous Zen monk told me. So I live the moment.
Well, that's great. That's one of the things that is unusual about some of your work, Joel, is that you're not afraid of repetition and letting the poem continue.
No, I rely on it.
Yeah.
My best friend. Anaphora, Anna. It's my girlfriend, Anaphora. You ever meet Anaphora? And I'll introduce you to Anaphora. So very sweet.
So did you have to, because, we're a little bit afraid of too much repetition, I think, as writers. Is that some of the thing that you had to...
Well, too much repetition. There's repetition and then there's too much repetition. I mean, you have to know what... Did you think there was too much repetition and not one? There may be. There may have been. I could have gone on. There was at least 70 prepositions in the English language, and I didn't get anywhere near 70 in that one, so I could have gone on a little longer. But once you hit something, and it's like you just want to run with it. You just want to keep on going because it feels so good. It's like jazz. You're riffing on this. You're riffing on these 8-bar things, and you just want to keep doing it because it feels right. It feels good. Your fingers are flying, man.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you have a lot of fun when you write, which I thank God that you do, given how many books and poems you've written. Is there any? Is it fun all the time? Like, are you always having fun on the page? Yeah. So how often is it fun versus not fun?
It's most of the time I'm having fun. If I'm not, I'll just stop, I guess, and just take a break, and I'll do something else. I'll do something else that's fun, and then come back to the poetry later. And I enjoy. I mean, okay.
Well, is there a key to making that work? I think it was on our other podcast, the one with Katie, the Poetry Space, where Bob Hickok was talking.
Oh, Bob.
And he said, I love the idea of, he said, make sure you have a round stone and not a flat stone as you're trying to roll it down the hill. And, once he gets a round stone rolling, it's fun. But if it's a flat stone, don't try to keep rolling it, and that's the way it works.
Oh, that's great. I think I was trying to say the same thing. With the round stone, keep it going, keep it rolling down.
So how do you do that? How do you know when you have something, or how do you get into something that you want?
Stone, next time you talk to Bob Hickok, tell him JR said that you can have fun with flat stones too. You can skip them across a lake.
Yeah.
Those flat stones skipping. Right? Keep the round stones rolling and the flat stones skip. Yeah, that's good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So how do you? I mean, one of the things I wanted to ask about was just the idea of writer's block, and if that ever happens to you, or does that even exist? I mean,
Oh, sure exists. I'll tell you what William Stafford said about, probably heard, heard him this already. William Stafford was asked about writer's block, and he said, well, I just lower my standards. And he's right, because I've tried it. You lower your standards, and then you will accept something maybe less than what you were aiming for. Writer's block, no, I think that's a misnomer. I don't know. I don't know. Well, it does exist. There's always hypnosis. Rachmaninoff had composer's block. Rachmaninoff had composer's block, and he went to a hypnotist. And after he had a few sessions with a hypnotist, he wrote his second piano concerto, I think, or the third piano concerto. So yeah, it does exist, and there are remedies for it, I suppose. But I haven't experienced it in a while. But when I do, what do you do for constipation? What do people do for constipation? Go to the drugstore. So what do you do for writer's block? You go to the drugstore and take something for the writer's block. Same idea.
Yeah. So what is your? Do you write every day? I kind of imagine that you do. Is it a routine, regimented kind of thing, a certain time or like that? Or
usually, I'll get up pretty early. I go to bed early, so it's now 48 minutes past my bedtime. So I usually go to bed pretty early, and sometimes I'll get up in the middle of the night. Every night I have to get up in the middle of the night and if I had a dream, if I have gotten up in the middle of a dream, I might write that down. So when I get up again in the morning, I'll see maybe there's a poem there, or early in the morning is sometimes a good time. Very good time, actually. Who was it? Donald Hall and his wife, who was also a poet. What was Donald Hall's wife? Anyway, they said they will never try to write anything until they've written down the dream they had the night before. It was a routine. I guess you can keep a dream journal. Of course, not everyone dreams. Everyone does dream, but not everyone will remember the dream. But if I've had a particularly vivid dream, I'll see if that wants to be a poem or not.
Yeah.
But in terms of, there's no particular time of day, although I have found that being out of doors is more conducive to writing than being indoors, which means I do most of my writing in the spring and the summer and the early autumn. Because this time of year, I'm not spending a lot of time outside, so I got to get all the writing during the warm weather.
Well, I'm from upstate New York too, so I don't blame you this time of year. Well, let's hear another poem. I want to make sure we cover these. Let's do another one, Joel.
Sure. This is To My Beard. I'm not sure anyway, it's To My Beard. Not to your beard, but to my beard. What can I say except I am sorry? I apologize for what I do to you, my daily ruthlessness and cruelty. What can I say but ask for your forgiveness and for your patience? For someday, I promise, someday, I swear on the beards of the prophets and on the beards of the poets Whitman and Tennyson and Ginsberg and on the beard of the President Lincoln, that I will let you go free, that I will take down the fence around you built of sharp blades through the valleys of my face, let you run wild like a stallion through the meadows of my face, that I will let you wander over the desert of my face like a holy man with visions, that I will let you grow, blossom, and flourish, that I will stroke you and comb you and keep you orderly and free of tangles and knots and crusty stains, and you, in turn, will make me distinguished looking, a wise old man as I stroke you looking serious, surely looking as though I were thinking deep thoughts about life and death. But I will be thinking only about you, my beard, my secret, my second face. And I will be letting my beard grow very soon because I recognize two seasons in the year, the beard season and the clean shaven season. So the beard season will be starting now, and the clean shaven season will commence in April. So that's
interesting. So also you write more poems clean shaven, I guess, than bearded.
Yes. Most of my poems are clean shaven poems. Very good. I like that.
So your most recent book, Barren Road, we're
Yeah.
reading a lot of poems from new and selected books, or from the new and selected poems, I think. And your most recent book is Barren Road.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that? I think we have the opening poem from that.
Yes.
The title poem. So what can you tell us about how that collection came to be? Is it as simple as the title poem makes it seem?
Yes, it is. It really is that simple. This collection came to be just like every other collection has come to be. They just come, and they be. They come and they be. They knock at the door, let me in, let us in. I open the door, they come in, and here they are. My goodness. Yeah. My books are pretty much interchangeable. They really are. I mean, I write about the same things over and over again. Sometimes the poems are almost identical over and over again with minor differences. No, it's I just let them happen. I let my poems do whatever they want, and if they get a little out of hand, unruly, or a little nasty, I'll discipline them a little bit. But I like to keep a laissez-faire, hands-off attitude when it comes to the poems.
And what do you think? You mentioned dreams before and writing down dreams, and it feels to me like poems are the same stuff as dreams, and really, ultimately, dreams are a message from your subconscious. It's something that you don't understand. That I guess the model in your concretized left brain is not accurate. Your right brain knows it, and it's saying, please update your model, understand what's going on. It's not what you think, or there's something off here. There's something more to it. Yeah.
It's the same source, for sure.
Yeah. So what are the themes that you keep coming across in your writing, would you say, that keep coming up?
Well, I live in the country up here in Hudson Valley, and as I say, I spend as much time as I can outside. And so what am I writing about? I'm writing about what's going on out here, what's going on. And what's going on, the same thing that's going on, the green fuse, force that drives the green fuse. Dylan Thomas is in the green fuse. It's the same stuff. It's all the same. Sometimes I grew up in the Bronx, spent the first 20 some odd years of my life in the Bronx, and sometimes I wonder, well, what did I write about while I was living in the Bronx? I didn't write about stuff I'm writing about now. I mean, I was writing, I started writing at the age of 17 in the Bronx. What was I writing about? I sure as hell wasn't writing about, the stuff, the hawks and the foxes and the fish and the this and the that. What was I writing about in the Bronx? I was writing about what I was reading. That's what I was writing. I was writing about what I was reading. And what was I reading? I was reading, the canon. I was reading what you're supposed to read if you're going to be an educated English major or music education major. I was reading Melville. I was reading Hawthorne. I was reading Fitzgerald. I was reading Faulkner. So what was I writing about? I don't know. I was writing about some characters that I was reading about. Once I moved up here into the country, I started writing much less about because I was reading less, actually. pretty much stopped reading at all and just started writing,
Mm.
read less and wrote more. Anyway, you want to hear this? We have time for this?
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah.
Barren Road, Barren Road. It gets the title poem of Barren Road. Um, it's a real place, actually. There is such a place as Barren Road. Not around here. Around here, there's a road called Purgatory Road. Right around the corner, there's a road called Purgatory, which is another great title. A great title for a book and a great title for a poem, Purgatory Road. But this is Barren Road. I have a friend who lives on Barren Road. It's a shame he's not a poet. It's a shame you're not a poet, I said. Why's that, he said. Because you live on Barren Road. So that's why it's a shame I'm not a poet, he said. Yeah, consider the irony, I said. I do. I've been considering it all the time, since it really was barren, he said. I'm surprised at you. This is the first time you said it's a shame I'm not a poet. Well, I think it's a shame you are. A damn shame. What a waste of a mind, he said. I understand. He's a sociologist.
Well, that was Barren Road, the title poem from JR's newest book, Barren Road. I don't want to keep you up too late, but I do. I'd love to ask you a few more questions, and also, a poem or two more, if you don't mind, Joel. And I should say at this point, if anybody has any questions watching on YouTube or Facebook or X, please leave them in the chat windows. I'm keeping an eye on that. It helps to put a big question in all bold. So I'll pass them along. And also, if you haven't yet, please do click the like button. That always helps. There's always more than twice as many people watching live as have clicked like yet. And if you click like, that really helps us out by spreading it to more people later. And so one thing I wanted to ask about this, Joel, is do you think that comment at the end, is there any merit to that? That a damn shame, what a waste of a mind, he said.
Yes. Yeah. There is actually true story. As I mentioned, I majored in music education as an undergraduate. I switched to English as a graduate student. And I did take a sociology course, Intro to Sociology 101. And I got the second highest grade. There were like 250 of us in this class. And on the final exam, I got like the second highest grade. And the professor called me up to his desk. And he said, "You got the second highest grade on this exam." He said, "What are you majoring in?" I said, "Music." And he said, "What a waste of a mind." I kid you not. So I just applied what he said to the poem. Yeah, I think there is some merit to it, perhaps. Sometimes a waste of a mind. I mean, I could have become something else. I mean, I could have become, well, my sociology professor wanted me to become a sociologist so I wouldn't waste my mind, and I saw where he's coming from, but I don't see why you can't be both. William Carlos Williams, great physician, a great pediatrician, and one of our greatest poets, and so on. So there's no reason why you can't do two things simultaneously.
Yeah. Well, the kind of flip side of that is that then why would it not be a waste of a life? Like, why is it worthwhile to do this for?
I didn't say it was a waste of a life. I said it was
a waste of a mind. Yes, exactly. Why is it not a waste of a mind to be doing this and putting so much energy into poetry?
Look, if I'm making somebody, William Carlos Williams said, "If it ain't a pleasure, it ain't a poem." If I'm giving somebody pleasure from my poetry, then I have not wasted anything. All right. If I'm giving somebody some pleasure, and I feel like that, that's fine. I'm good. James Wright, James Wright's poem, which concludes, "I have wasted my life." That I can't recite the whole poem from memory, but very famous poem by James Wright, the end of the last line of which is, "I have wasted my life." Yeah, I think he had some trepid. Yeah, he had something there about doubting, but he didn't waste his life. I mean, read James Wright's poems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what is so great about that is that sort of Schrodinger's cat situation where it's like, both wasting your life is writing poems and not writing poems at the same time. It would be such a waste not to put your mind to that. But at the same time, there's the other side.
Well, there might be more important things to put one's mind to. I can think of quite a few more important things to put one's mind to. But if your mind is focused that way, if you have a mind for it, I think I have a mind for poetry. I think,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had a mind for music, but it turns out that my mind is more for poetry than it is for music. And use what you got. I mean, if you haven't flaunted, I've got to flaunt something like that.
Well, let's flaunt it one more time with another poem from this book, Barren Road. I think Helen and Helen.
Yes, this is a longish one, so I guess you should be the last of them, I suppose. What's up to you? Helen and Helen. Well, this is the kind of thing I was writing about while I was living in the city, because this takes place, I'll read it. Growing up, I knew two Helens. The first was Helen Green. Her real name was Greenberg, but her father changed it to Green. He once wrote a letter to Hank Greenberg, castigating the great ball player who was the frequent target of anti-Semitic taunts from fans and other players for not changing his name to something less Jewish. Helen lived in my building, but we weren't friends. She was smart and went to Hunter High School. The other Helen was Greek, Helen Kantos. She wasn't smart. She went to the same high school. We went to the same high school, but we weren't friends because she was beautiful. Helen Kantos was so beautiful, I didn't have the nerve to say a word to her. Besides, she was going out with Ira Tartak, the captain of the football team. I thought that if there were anything worth getting beaten up for, it would be Helen Kantos. Anyway, as I said, she was Greek, which didn't mean anything to me until Mr. Feinberg, our senior year English teacher, had us read the Iliad. The Trojan War was about a woman, he told us, a woman named Helen, who was so beautiful her face launched 1,000 ships. It made perfect sense. I got an A in that class, my only one. I never knew what became of the beautiful Helen Kantos, but I'm quite sure she married Ira, had 4 or 5 kids, and got fat. I do know what happened to Helen Green, the smart Helen. She became the district attorney of Bronx County, the face that launched 1,000 prosecutions.
Yeah, that was Helen and Helen by J.R. Solonche. Thanks for sharing that, J.R.
You're very, very welcome.
Yeah, a quick question from Mark Grenier. Wanted to know, do the poems come fully formed, or do you spend a lot of time revising them? That's something that we haven't talked about before or yet.
Some actually do spring right out of my thigh, like Athena, fully formed. Others I do revise, and sometimes I will revise a poem that I wrote years and years and years before that are right here in this drawer. You hear that? They're in that drawer. I don't throw them away. Well, I do throw them away. But the ones that I think might come back to life at some point with a little TLC, I will bring them out. I will revise them for sure, for sure. It depends again. It depends on the poem. It depends on what I hear. It depends on what I hear. if the music is making sense, if the sense is making music. No, the music doesn't have to make sense, but the sense has to make music. If the sense is making music, I won't have to revise it. If there are sour notes, yeah, okay, gotta pick the sour notes. You can't leave sour notes in.
Yeah. And so much of that is out loud, I imagine. Reading poems out loud as you go, hearing where they go wrong. Yeah, and maybe if more people read, there's so much, people buried in their headphones on their personal devices, and so much less reading out loud these days. That maybe that's one of the issues with poetry being a little less musical than it used to be.
Well, there are more poetry readings now than there have ever been. Right? Every town, every village, every city, there's a poetry reading go on right now, right at this very moment. There are hundreds of poetry readings going on in America somewhere. There are a lot. So, yeah, but I don't know. What does that mean? It means that poetry is alive. If poetry is alive, but not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's alive and well. I mean, it's alive, and it's alive and kicking. Right.
Yeah. Well, we keep kicking along with it. So, yeah, thankfully. Thanks, Jill. Let's close out with one last poem. I think we have to my favorite corduroy jacket.
Oh, my goodness.
Finish with that one?
Well, if that's what you'd like me to finish with, I will. To my favorite corduroy jacket. This was kind of inspired by Pablo Neruda's odes, elemental odes. Pablo Neruda, one of my favorite poets, one of the most musical, of course, of poets. So any poem written in Spanish has to be musical. That's a given. So, yeah. Such dust on your shoulders. How did you get such dust on your shoulders? Have you been holding up the ceiling of the closet all summer? I see you are getting old. I see how thin you are getting. Soon I will have to replace the leather patches where my elbows have worn you through. And your satin lining, what a mess. You can't even hold a pen in your inside pocket anymore. It just falls through to the floor. Your lapels, which when I first set eyes on them, I thought were the wings of Pegasus, are gnarled, twisted, curled, useless as the wings of an ostrich. At least you have all your buttons. You're lucky. Although it's true, one's life is hanging by a thread. How ironic that is, since for that one time when I first tried you on, I've never buttoned you up. I wonder why. Could it be I am shy, timid, uncertain of my own mind, that I always let you speak for me? I must remember to tell the undertaker to button your lip along with mine. I know I should send you away to the tailor to be sewn up, but I'm afraid to send you away. I also am getting old, and I'm afraid to be apart from you, even for just a week. Haven't I already sworn, do you remember, that I will die in your arms, oh corduroy armor, corduroy critic-proof vest, that we will become dust together, that together we will become dust of corduroy, dust of man, dust that we will become dust of corduroy man, and together hold up the ceiling of the closet of the earth all summer, all fall, all winter, all spring, forever.
Yeah, I love the ending of that poem. That was my favorite corduroy jacket, and I think it is a great poem to end on. Joel, thanks so much for being a guest. And you've had a lot of people here with really wonderful comments, loving your work. Jack Riddle was here for a bit earlier. Michael Meyerhofer. Yeah.
My friend Jack Riddle.
Yeah. Michael Meyerhofer says, especially...
my friend Michael Meyerhofer.
Yeah, especially your books are great, but especially won't be long, he says. Amanda Holmes says hi from Tasmania. So it's great to...
from Tasmania?
Tasmania, yeah. Everybody all over enjoying your interview, Joel. Dan Bliss. There's a lot of people who aren't usually here, which is nice to see. So glad they came out, and thanks for being a guest. It's really been great to get to know you better. And
I hope that Jack Riddle will be doing one of these. Will he
He's
not?
been on, yeah, and maybe we should have him
Has been
back.
on.
But yeah, he was on a
And
couple of years ago.
Meyerhofer as well.
Yeah, they both have. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Joel. It's been a pleasure getting to know you better
I
and
enjoyed it
sharing this
very
work.
much. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great night.
Okay. Take care.
Yep. Yeah, so that was J.R. Solonche. You can find his most recent book and several of his most recent books at the same press. That is servicehousebooks.com, or servinghousebooks.com. You can find Barren Road, his most recent book, and a bunch of other books there too. Now we're going to take a quick break and go to our prompt lines. And before, just one program note. I know there was some choppiness earlier on in the feed. I saw the comments. It's not my recording or anybody's streams. It must be YouTube or the upstream somewhere. So I will have a clean copy of this for the audio if you want us to on iTunes and Spotify and that version. And I'll look back, and if it's bad, I'll repost the raw video on our YouTube page. But anyway, the prompt for this week is to, where is it? Right there. Invent a form that borrows something you love about an existing form, but spins it in a new direction. That is your prompt for this week from Katie. Now, a couple of reminders. First, email your poem to promptlines@rattle.com if you've got one of those to share that fits that prompt, but only if it fits that prompt. Email it to, once again, promptlines, all one word, @rattle.com. That way I can show the poems on screen, like we were with Joel's poems just now. And then find the Zoom link, which I'm about to deploy on Facebook and YouTube, and join the Zoom, but only if you want to share a poem. And keep in mind, the max time we want to have everybody it's 3 minutes at most, so we can keep it quick and everybody can get to bed. Also, it's a one-page max generally for poems anyway, so make sure you're only sharing poems if they're over one page. You can submit poems that are longer for the prompt poem of the month, but only share poems if they're short, because we want to be courteous to everybody who's staying up late tonight. All right, so sit tight, and we'll be right back with a whole lot more poetry. And we're back with our prompt lines editor, our associate editor, and my wife, Katie Dozier. Hey, Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I love the honesty in that interview. I felt like he was like themed to our last Poetry Space episode. Yeah.
He definitely was, yeah. And a lot of great lines, too. A lot of quotes. A very quotable episode, too.
Yeah, and then the repetition was particularly remarkable, I think, in his poetry. So
yeah, you know, we were just talking about it. Who was I talking to? Oh, it was Crystal from last week.
I was like, was it
Never
me?
mind. It
No.
wasn't. But about that whole concept of embracing the silence, you know? Like embracing the repetition is what we want to do. And so oops.
That was an ironic time for you to say that as our voices echoed in our own ears again for a second there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the prompt for this week was to invent a form that borrows something you love about an existing form, but spins it in a new direction. So I'm curious, and did you know that J.R. Solonche had so many poems that do that? Like the first poem was a sestina.
It actually kind of freaked me out. I didn't know. I mean,
I didn't think you did. Okay, so that makes sense.
I'm sorry. Everybody thinks I'm more well-read than I am, probably. But no, I didn't know. I was like, what? Okay. Yeah, so I went with thinking about a villanelle, although I took this more loosely than I think most people will have taken this. And I wanted to just hone in on the refrain, the repeated line, but then also really, what's magical to me about villanelles is the lines, transforming the meaning every time. So to focus on that and take a line of dialogue and try to do it with that, because I thought that was like something that was should be harder to make feel different every time you say it, leaning into the repetition.
Yeah, that was a really cool idea. I think I have to say.
Thanks. Okay. So officially the form is you have to use the same line of dialogue 3 times in your poem, and that's it. It's not metered or anything. Sorry if that's poor.
Okay, but by 3 different people. Is that part of the?
Yes.
Or in 3 different ways? Or
I actually
definitely by people?
By I don't know. We'll leave that one more ambiguous. The same line of dialogue 3 times. And I think it's, it's kind of a cheat to have different people say it. It's kind of an easy way, I guess, to fulfill the prompt.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's hear this. Okay.
Gestalt therapy. Sometimes I feel so sad, she said, crying as I brushed out her strawberry blonde tangles. She leaps from line to line on the playground, sees the route from slide to swing as though she wears a cape, but she cannot answer when anyone asks how old she is. Sometimes I feel so sad. 5 is the answer, though really almost 6. But when a troll won't let her sister pass, she gives the kind of hug I used to take for granted. This is some of what she gives me, to see every word as the gift it always was, to love each grain of playbox sand. And when we walk out on the beach, she points to every seagull, another thing I take for granted, the ability to fly. Sometimes I feel so sad. How much sand falls through my own hands. Every day, a xylophone of sunrises, as if to remind me what she knows. This is a beach, not a wasteland.
Oh, that's a beautiful poem. And I love that xylophone of sunrise is just such a great line, too.
That was a line I was telling you when I was like, I wrote my poem has one really good line.
Well, the whole thing is great. And I love that you're writing about Charlotte. I mean, it's such a... it's just a thing that I wish you would write more, and I'm glad you're doing.
Yeah,
because
I am. Sometimes it makes me feel like there's that sense of like I don't want to write Charlotte's story.
Yeah,
too. And it's especially sensitive when you're literally talking about someone who doesn't have the language to say these things, and so you really especially don't want to be speaking for someone else. So yeah, but thank you.
Yeah. Well, maybe now that things are going good and improving and stuff, maybe more poems will come. Yeah. Well, that's great.
Thanks.
All right, yeah. So that was Gestalt Therapy, Katie's poem, and I still don't understand too. I have to ask. What Gestalt means. It's one of those things. I took lots of psychology courses, heard freaking Gestalt so many times, I can never keep it in my head what it actually means. Is that a Gestalt that I can't?
I'm sure any psychologist listening are going to be like, yeah, her answer sucks. But my approximation of the answer and why I called it Gestalt is that Charlotte's, which I know you know this part, but her
but I don't know what it means.
Her speech and occupational therapists they focus on the Gestalt method, and this is also too why when Charlotte speaks, it's often a whole phrase that comes out, even though she has trouble answering like a yes or no question. And so it's the idea of the focus of the whole product instead of breaking it into parts. I didn't know I was calling it this until I realized like, oh, I'm actually writing about the type of therapy because I'm talking about like I focus too much on the individual grains of sand sometimes and I miss, the bigger picture.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Focusing on the bigger picture is kind of what it's also an extended metaphor for.
Yeah. Well, that sounds I know I asked you to explain it before and hopefully it'll stick in my head this time.
I don't know. I think I better do a better job explaining it if I want it to stick, but thanks.
All right. Yeah. Well, great poem. Okay, so for mine, the form that I'm writing in right now, I've read a few of these, fits perfectly, and so they're alliterative.
Yeah, that's true. This was a real layup for you. You're already
it kind of was because I just want to write
week.
A lot in this form, which is I think I'm not sure if there's a name for them that I going to give, but they're sort of alliterative verse sonnets. So it's sort of sonnet length in alliterative
Wait
verse.
a sec. Is this the green?
The green?
Yeah, that's what you're going to call it, right?
Oh, yeah. No. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll call it the green. But yeah, so one of the things, alliterative verse, the main form is the 3 pieces of alliteration
Per line.
for 4 beats. So it's 3
Okay,
over
right.
4, and then it makes so if it's 18 lines, that's 72 beats, and a sonnet is 70 beats, being 14 lines and 5 beats per line. So it's like the closest actual length to a sonnet being 18, and so that's why they're 18 lines long, and then also it's also the same stanza size as the dream songs, Berryman's dream songs. And also what I'm doing too is trying to not have any regular meter. I'm trying to use a lot of different feet all the time,
Oh, I didn't know
but keeping to the 2 beats. So I'm trying to resist at all times having any kind of like iambic that I get stuck in a rut for or something.
Oh, how neat.
And so I'm using a lot of really arcane and unused like 4 syllable beats and things like that. But anyway,
Wow, cool.
so this is another one of these poems, and there's a whole theme that goes on, but this is it. This is Ornament. Here we go. Ornament. A single hubcap, neither humble nor holy, zeros at the zenith of this static zoo. Chrome or chrome-plated, no one cares as its circle spins its sad slice of mirror ball, another bastard in the bunting. Where, you wonder, went the others? They all drove off like dads drive off, his arm the wing of a whale in the window. When this lost lodgin' from last night's dream came rolling around the corner, hole ripped from the fender and down a fern-fettered gully, he handed you a flashlight. Would he be here in the morning is the question you most remember. Often the answer, almost angelic, was no. And now you're left with nothing but a headlamp for a halo, the heaviness of the mud making your mid-side sore as you dance the dirge that draws you home. So that is Ornament, another in the series.
Wow. Well, it's really wonderful to get to hear you read them out loud. I would have trouble reading such an alliterative poem, I feel like, out loud too. But when you read it, it sounds so wonderful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see what everybody else has. We did a lot more explaining than we normally do. It's a good thing we don't have that many participants on.
Yeah, and I already felt guilty. I had an actual full-page poem tonight. I felt like, whoa,
watch out.
that's a lot of
But
poem.
it sounds perfect. Let's go first to none other than Dick Westheimer.
Well, hello. Tim, I actually have a question about your form. I've noticed that it has breaks in the lines. I don't know what the technical
Yeah,
poety
those are
term
called
is.
demi-stitch. Is that what they're called? Demi-stitches? I can't remember. I always forget. That's another word I forget.
That
all the
sounds
time.
like it, Dimmy.
Yeah, I think maybe. Or hemi-stitches? Hemi-stitches. Is that right?
And is that part of the form that you're...
That is, because that sets off the 2 beats per each line. So there's 2 stresses on each side of those.
I see.
Kind of like how we're Dimmy stitching the screen right now and need to move closer together.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I was working on
There has to
adjusting
be a
it, too.
little space between you. You are 2 different human beings from what I...
Not according to the camera.
Okay. Just wondering, because what I can't help when I see that pattern in a poem, sort of wondering as it snakes through the poem, what else it means for the poem in terms of my reading of it. But now I understand better. So my form, I've actually tried this form before, and Carla Schwartz gave it a name, which is a guzzle, which I love. I love to try guzzles. I might have written one good one. I love listening. One of the reasons I like, Rattle is that when people write, you give them the opportunity to record, and those guzzles that you have, I try to listen to before I write one. So I'm wondering whether, to folks out there, couple of things, whether the sort of haiku, senru, manuku that stick in the middle between the 2 just break up the rhythm too much, and whether, if you're just reading this, whether having those in italics might make it better or easier to read. So, and Carla Schwartz came up with Geisen as the name for this.
Nice. I like that.
Guyson for all that leaves in autumn. Who watches in our darkened room when a dream leaves? After midnight, there's nothing to say about all that leaves. In the dark, no one sees. Trees disrobe. I was offered sun. I chose sorrow and gray and broken pavement littered with autumn leaves. Too much to hold on to. Fall colors. We hand-washed toddler spoons, munchkin cups, and plastic plates after my daughter's daughter leaves. Sleeping in, remembering we were awake. The maple trees at the wood's edge wear golden crowns. They're neither kings nor queens, and soon will not have leaves. Under a jeweled crown, the king farts. Beneath the bare ash, we gasp and roll, whisper secrets, fumble buttons, and find all our tender spots in leaves. Love making us love, which are raked into a giant pile that conceals us from spies, coyotes, the web of things. But again, we are caught in leaves. Surveillance, trapped in amber. Autumn is the season for missing. My wedding ring and lover's lists, her favorite garden hoe, the things I've lost that leave. Every day losing what I don't have. So much falls in autumn. Too little hangs on till spring. What lessons, Dick, have you been taught by leaves? Holding on to oak leaves, hanging on till spring.
Well, very cool combination of the two forms. I like all the haiku in the middle, and definitely interesting to hear the combination of them.
Yeah, that is very creative.
Yeah, creative is one thing. Whether it can sustain itself as a form is another. I did, Tim, at your suggestion. I forget where I heard you say that. I fed it into Gemini, Google's, and said, "Tell me about the form of this poem," and it came back that it was a combination of a ghazal, and haiku.
Oh wow,
That's
It-
great.
it's getting too smart.
Yeah, that I don't know if it's great, Katie. It is what it is, but
I think
mean,
it's exciting because I love educating. I'll ask something, ask an AI, is this a haiku? And I'll be like, this is a syllabic poem. And I'll be like, false. Haiku in English are not syllabic poems. It's like, you're correct. So it's like also my therapy for my 5, 7, and 5 haiku battles,
Yeah, yeah. This picked up on it and had, of course, it's flattering, right? They all flatter you.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, because they want you back. They'll have 10 nice things and then one little criticism back there. But still, it did analyze it and did have things to say about it that I thought a human might have said about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really neat.
yeah, it is. Well, yeah. Thanks so much for sharing
Yeah,
that, Dick.
thanks,
Really
Dick.
interesting. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's Dick Westheimer with Guyson for all that leaves in autumn. Yeah, that's really neat. All right, let's go next to Jeff Stumpo.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hey, Jeff, great to
Hey.
see you.
So my project for the year since January 1st has been writing a collection of poems, prose, and images dedicated to hip hop artists, and every single one is in a different form, including ones that I've made up. And a bunch of them are secret sonnets. So like there's an actual
wow.
sonnet, there's a sonnet crown, there's a rex, which is a form invented by Catherine Weiss, and each stanza in that is a sonnet. There's an unlucky building, which was invented by Sean Devine, and if you unwrap it the correct way, it's a sonnet. So what I did for today is a sonnet that's a to-do list.
Interesting. All right.
And it's really more of a visual poem. So I'm just going to read portions of it, like the blatant portions of it. But this is Lucius's to-dos, a to-do list for Slum Village. 7 a.m., bring back garbage can. 7:05, stoop talk. 8 a.m., breakfast taco from Jorge's stand. 8:15, start walk. 8:30, chess with Matt and King Bishop, simultaneous. 11 a.m., flowers, get name of clerk. 11:15, ask after barber's arthritic fingers. 11:45, pay Department of Public Works. 12:15, home, flowers and face, try calling Malcolm again. 12:20, nap. 5 p.m., put dinner in oven. 6 p.m., news, dinner, door latched. 11, wish a safe night to the girls on the corner. Midnight, recite the Lord's Prayer, sleep till morning.
Well, that's really interesting. I'd say I'm not sure I understand it as far as Lucius's to-dos, but really fascinating. And you have to be the king of obscure twistings of forms and things. I don't know how. See, one of the things when I start to worry about like poetry, like going downhill, like J.R. Solonche was talking about, which doesn't translate for the audio listeners.
No,
but
it does not.
but is that like there's all this stuff that I don't know. Like I've never heard of that building form that transforms itself or whatever. I love that there's so much I don't know,
Yeah.
and that just gives me hope and love.
If I have like 30 seconds to tell you, unlucky building is a cool form. The idea is you read it from the bottom up, going back and forth as if you were climbing like an apartment's staircases.
Yeah.
So ideally, you can read it down and it doesn't make perfect sense, but it is sonically interesting. And then if you read it back up from the bottom to the top is where it makes sense.
Oh, wow.
And so I did one of those that is also a sonnet if you were to unwrap it a certain way.
Wow.
So that's like the Cat Lehman poem too, the concrete poem that like you're supposed to read from the bottom.
Yeah, a little bit like
okay.
that. Yeah.
Tell me the name one more time, Jeff. I'm sorry, I've already forgotten it.
It's called an unlucky building, and it was invented by Sean Devine,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
which I might be
Well,
pronouncing that last name incorrectly, but it's Devine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, great.
well,
Well, very
great,
cool.
thanks.
Thanks for sharing that, and really fascinating. I like what you're doing. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Jeff Stumpo with Lucius's to-do list. No, to-dos. Let's go next to... See, I think, Kate, I think you understand it, and I don't. is the
Yeah, I
thing.
think I understand more of it than
Yeah, okay. All right, let's go to Shiv next.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hey.
Yeah, great to see you. Yeah, always a pleasure.
I have a poem that's I invented this form. I thought I did, but I've now discovered many people have been writing it for many years.
You shouldn't have looked into it. No, just kidding.
It's a 13-line form, which I had been writing these long poems for my mentor, who used to read my poems and give me feedback. And after about a year of doing it, she was like, "I'm tired. Your poems are so long. Can't you write sonnets?" And I told her, "I'm going to do better. I'm going to do one line less than a sonnet." So this is my give back to my
Shiv,
teacher.
I can relate so much because I did the exact same thing, actually. In fact, I have a whole unpublished manuscript called Sonnet -1, so I'm right there with you. And then I was like, oh, Crowtail sonnets. Why, this did exist before me. So I've been there. I understand.
So here's my 13 line. It's called Tera. Tera means you, and it also means 13 in Punjabi. Do you ever feel that the thing that you just made is the best you've ever made? Maybe even the best made ever. Like this Tera. There's the stiffness of bamboo and the bloating boat of starry melody that leaves it shimmering. But bamboo is hollow grass, and a tune is just air. So dear lung of my creation, hear it blow. Breath may be borrowed. Do you feel it? It always is.
Yeah, well, very interesting, and I like the mystical kind of depth at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And a great reading of it, too.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Yeah, that was Shivpreet Singh with Do You Ever Feel? And let's go next to Jared Campbell, another one I was looking forward to seeing what he would take off on weird forms, because he also loves going weird places with forms. So what do you got for us, Jared?
So mine is a proposal for fixing the Meredith sonnet,
Okay.
the Meredith 16-line sonnet. So one of the things that I love about the Petrarchan sonnet is that it uses the rhyme scheme to unify the poem into an octave and then a sestet, right?
Yeah.
Because once you finish the first line of the octave, a rhyme has been promised to you that hasn't been paid off yet. And you continue to be in that state until you read the last line of the octave. And then you start over afresh, right? And the same thing is true of the sestet. So the rhyme scheme unifies the octave and the sestet. And once you have both of those things, they enter into a proportional relationship to each other so that the poem as a whole has a rhythm to it. It accelerates. And it accelerates and densifies as it moves from the world of 8 to the world of 6, right? And then you don't get that in any of the 16-line sonnets that I've ever read. The rhymed 16-line sonnets that I've read have always fallen apart into quatrains for no reason at all, right? So they don't have that rhythmic relationship or proportional relationship or any kind of a relationship between the rhyme scheme and the volta. Right. So what I did is I said, okay, well, let's divide it into a decade and a sestet. So 10 lines that have a rhyme scheme relationship that unifies them into a block of 10 lines, and then 6 lines so that the whole poem is built on a proportion between 10 and 6, which is actually basically as close as you could get to the golden proportion, like the golden ratio within a poem of a reasonable amount of lines. But it's got that unified 2-part structure that are in a conversation with each other. And that's the idea for an improved 16-line sonnet.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, I don't even know if you need the poem. I'm very satisfied with everything you brought to this week already.
It's like, it doesn't, whether this is a good poem or not, this is the right form for a 16-line poem.
Excellent. Well,
I just love everything you do. I will be re-listening to this. That was awesome, Jared.
Very informative. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. And now the poem.
Okay. November in Shawnee Mission Park with my son. Be careful, I said, tripping on a root. He answered, what's this thing? His plasticine attention on a fallen walnut fruit, now odorless and black, fragrant and green some months ago. I rolled the fruit between earth and my heel. The shell emerged, mutely holding the brain-like meat, I told him. Flim-flam, he thought, not condescending to dispute my claim. I couldn't admit he's what I am. To me, the fruit looked like his sonogram. I wonder when he'll realize that when I ask him to attend wherever we go, to hidden sights and sounds, it's really him I'm hearing in the creek's gurgling flow, the whispering leaves turned red and gold again, the solitary cawing of a crow.
Yeah, well, definitely that acceleration. Really well
you
explained.
could really
you could feel it there,
yeah,
Jared.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, very cool. And the people should pay for these kind of lessons.
They really should.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's hard to get people to pay for poetry. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Well, they should. They should be coming here with our dollars.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Jared. That was great.
Thank you. Really great.
Yeah, there's Jared Campbell with November in Shawnee Mission Park with my son, fixing the Meredithian sonnet. A little late because our Rattle Poetry Prize winner is a Meredithian sonnet, but hasn't been corrected yet. Anyway, yeah, thanks, Jared, for that. Let's go next to Christiana Doucette.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Christiana, great to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm pulling up my copy, and I realized after I sent this to you that I didn't send you the copy that has like the little grid here as an image. And so I'm wondering if it's showing up even or if it's all jumbled, because sometimes they all like
I think it is
get
jumbled.
messed around
Let me
with.
I'll open it actually in a real file, and I think that'll probably fix it instead of the preview. So 1 second. So start explaining. Explain what you're doing here with this
Yes.
form.
So this is another one of those ones. I believe Chelsea McClellan is the one who called them the Doucette roulette that were based on like when we did the Haibun, like a variation on the Haibun.
Right.
And so it starts and ends with a haiku, and then it's in a grid. You can read it multiple different directions. Whatever syllable count you decide on using, you just keep that consistent throughout whichever one it is. And then each row uses the same end rhyme because that I found seems to give a pretty pleasing musical read.
Great.
So, did that work, Tim?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we
good.
have
It
it.
came up all right. Good.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So this
Yeah.
one's called Corn Maze. Bent ears whisper, final husks, sideways shadows. The scarecrow at the entrance holds a sign. A chill works down my neck and through my spine. A croaking voice shifts pitch into a whine. A solitary figure left by friends. I swallow hard and start toward the bend. It warns me of shocks ahead and of dead ends. The flashlight flickers, lights a dimming thread, but something pulls me forward past the dread. I'm ready for the flock of frights ahead. Haunting, just cause and effect.
Well, that's really
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah, the bookend haiku are really neat. And then so you can follow the arrow any way you want, right? So you can sort of make your own
Right.
poem every time. Am I understanding that right?
Right, so you could read it across this way and have the scarecrow at the entrance holds a sign. It warns of shocks ahead and of dead ends. The flashlight flickers, lights a dimming thread, and then go back around.
Ah.
And so you get a different reading that way than you get reading it down the row like I did this time.
Yeah.
How cool. And the
is really
title, too, just and it delivering that much on the title. Like, has a poem ever delivered on the title so much? I don't know. Corn maze.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but most of them that I have done have had like a maze sort of theme too. Because there was the mirror maze with the phantom. I don't know. It just, I think it's because the imagery and the form kind of like lend themselves to maze like.
Yeah, well, they really need that. You don't want to be accused of it just being for show. And when you work it into the title so much, it definitely becomes part of it. And then you get to actually have that experience. So super fun. Wow.
And I do like having like the haiku at the beginning and the end because I feel like you get that like something solid that you're moving toward.
Yeah. Well, very cool. And they're called, what are they called again?
Doucette roulette.
Oh, the Doucette roulette. Yeah, well, that's great. That's going to stick.
Thank you, Chelsea.
That works. That works. We need a rhyming green mean. No.
The mean green.
No, that's your fantasy football team close to it. Okay. Thanks,
Well,
Christiana.
Thanks, Christiana. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a cool form. Yeah, it's Christiana Doucette with Corn Maze.
I just love the prompt lines. Like, look at all the cool stuff
I
we've
know.
just seen.
It's so much better
creative
than
and
reading
amazing.
other literary
You
things.
know? So true.
Okay. Anyway, let's go next to. Oh, let's go. I think. Yeah, Nivedita's here. Let's go to Nivedita while she can make it.
Hello.
Hey, Nivi, how you doing?
Guys, I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
Oh, good. Doing great. Yeah. So, what do you have for us?
So I took the tanka. I like tanka and villanelle, but then I was wondering how to mix both of them, and then I decided to use not exact refrains like in villanelle, but more of echoes, and so I decided to call it an echo tanka. So the first and third lines are sort of similar in at least meaning and what they wish to convey, and same for the second and fourth line. And the fifth line, unlike in an actual tanka, sort of ties up the whole thing. So I've just decided to call it an echo tanka.
Echo Tanka. Cool. I like that name too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it.
Thank you. Morning sun rises and warmth spreads across the cold earth. Light awakens hope. Dawn's gentle promise lingers in hearts that long for new days.
Yeah. Well, very cool how that's interwoven and take on the Tanka. I like it. Thanks for sharing that, Nivi.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yep. Have a great day.
Night. Wait,
Thank
I
you.
screwed it up.
Bye-bye.
Darn it. Day, Nibby, day. Have a nice day in India,
Thank you.
Nibby. Sorry.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. And I'm glad you made it too with our weird daylight savings thing
Yeah,
again. Another
sorry
year,
about
another
It's just
change.
an hour later for me. For me, time doesn't change. So for me, it's just an hour later. It's now almost 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. I'm so glad I could be here so often.
Good
Nivi,
morning.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. There was Nivedita Karthik with her Echo Tanka. I like that concept. That's neat.
Yeah.
All right, and let's go next to Matt Joseph.
Hi guys.
Hey, Matt.
Hey Matt, good to see you.
Hey there. These are amazing forums tonight. I feel like my experiment was rather limited and literal, but that's okay. That's okay. I try not to do a ton of explication, but I'll just say in my spare time, I'm a family medicine doc, and I just came back from some time in Guatemala at a friend's clinic there who does this amazing stuff with teaching the folks to be promotores or these rural health promoters. So yeah, well, it was amazing, and it was, I'll just say, it was very much third world, from a material sense, and sort of the cliches of uh, remarkable how much joy and laughter, community there is, of course. So anyways, enough of that. I'll jump in. So my form. So the really exciting radical departure I made was because the haiku is 5-7-5. I said, let me do a series of haiku stanzas that are 7-5-7. So that's my really I was going way out. I'm just way out there, like just like risking it all here. So
I like it.
Anyway, so there we go. All right, I'll just jump in. So Casa de Salud, Naranjo, Guatemala. Come see what dirt poor really means. Air thick as concrete. A motorcycle. Family of 5. Walking blind. No light but my phone. Night thick as squid ink. "Hay un gringo," calls a voice. Nowhere on any side street, in front of no store, lies a single soul on the ground. The clinic where they come to learn, to care for their pueblos, more laughter than the walls can hold. I won't say that joy equals 1 divided by wealth. Too simple, but I may think it.
Yeah, well, very heartfelt poem, and thanks for going there and doing the great work and being a doctor everywhere you are. That's really wonderful. I didn't realize that, Matt. That's great.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
At some point in my life, I want to invert my have doctoring being my hobby and poetry being my full-time pastime. So this is part of that project.
Sounds
so
like a good
thanks you guys
plan.
for
I
doing
like
that.
that. Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys.
Thank
you.
So much, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, it was Matt Joseph with Casa Salud, Naranjo, Guatemala. And let's go next to Amanda Harris.
All right, so I really love to play with high bun, so I had some fun with this.
Great.
One of the big changes is that you see like a slash that connotes the line break, and at the end, the haiku is not a 5-7-5, it's just whatever image you want to convey, and I feel like we had been going in this direction anyway. All right. The pseudo hyben. Like an ache or a blessing, I hear my brother run. I love a mama's boy, he says, trapped in an era where streaming the next day is criminal. There is a woman on camera, not all that old, not all that young, who says she hates her daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-laws may be disrespectful, but at least they are bodies taking up space. I flip the channel. Helga is hesitant to confess her feelings for Arnold. She grabs chalk. She writes in a deserted part of the neighborhood that Arnold loves her. The last time I loved somebody, it ended in ruin. We don't talk. There is the suggestion made by wind of shadow. Roaring TV, furniture stand dust, anticipating window echoes.
Oh, very cool. Thanks so much for sharing that, Amanda.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's Amanda Harris with the pseudo hyben. All right. Next, let's go to Chelsea McClellan.
Hello. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hey, Chelsea. Great to see you.
Well, I attempted to insert the Pantoum's rotating refrain into a tercerima rhyme scheme.
Oh, well, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah, so the what I learned halfway through is the refrains come quick. There's only one line between them. So this one's called Bobolinks in the Hayfield. You'll never grow a garden if you think the gardener grows more flowers than she kills. Their dead don't cry out like the bobolink. Gardener grows more flowers. Those she kills compost their quiet duty to the land, like the poet's posthumous shrinking leaves no frills, just compost. Their quiet duty to the land, leaving space for up-and-coming stories some dreamers salvage from the scraps at hand. But leaving space for up-and-coming stories may be less duty, more a habit learned. Record-keeping people into categories may also be less duty than habit learned. You'll never grow a garden if you think every flower that lives was somehow earned.
Wow. Well, that's really cool to get that out as a poem. That seems really difficult to squeeze that together.
How was the process of writing that? Like, I think it would be really, I'd be very intimidated.
I'm not sure I would do it again. It was intense, and I kind of thought after the first two stanzas, I might not finish this. But then I pushed through, and, each refrain kind of took me somewhere different. And I think you might get lucky if you try it, and it might just be a pain in your butt.
Oh, very cool.
A good summary on many things in life, I would say.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Chelsea. I'm glad you got one out. That's really neat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Chelsea McClellan with Bobolinks in the Hayfield.
Reigning prop poet of the month.
There you go.
Oh, I should have said that when she was on camera, too, because it's her last week.
Oh, reigning prop
poet of the month. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Next, we will go to Chelsea McGlynn.
Hello.
Hey, Chelsea.
Hey, Chelsea. Great to see you.
You too. So my poem is one that it's a form that I've done before, and I'm pretty sure I invented it. It's called the Wordle Coup. It's where you make a haiku using Wordle. So you have to follow the Wordle rules. It has to be 6 words with 5 letters each, and it has to end with the actual end word. That is the word of the day. So the the title is just after the number of the Wordle it is. So Wordle Coup number 1597. Dying hours groan, night rises rapid.
Yeah,
and I wrote that yesterday.
Reread it. It's so short. Okay. We want to hear
you. Dying hours groan, night rises rapid.
Oh, that's really interesting. So how do you? So this is actually typed into Wordle.
Mm-hmm.
But so how do you have like 2 accounts? How are you doing this?
No, so there's 2
you have to know the end word.
There is websites that you can just look up what the word is supposed to be.
No way.
No, this should be pure. No.
Yeah. And then the other trick is that you can delete your browsing history, and then you can redo Wordle.
Oh my gosh! When all those people were posting their
this is not the way.
Right. The third trick is I just ask my husband what the word was for the day, and then I write my poem.
And everyone can use that trick, right?
Yes, they can. Yeah, everyone can text him.
Well, thanks, Chelsea. That's a really cool forum.
Really
yeah.
Neat.
How many of these have you done? Do you know? Roughly?
I've published 10 of them.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
And I've probably written maybe 40 or 50 so far.
Wow, really?
How fun. That's really
tricky.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was Chelsea McGlynn with Wordle Coup. That's what it's called. There you go.
I found out today Martha Stewart plays Wordle. Maybe she can start doing the form of the poem.
She should. I highly recommend it, Martha. All right. Let's see. Oh, Odd Writings is up next.
Hey there.
Hey,
George. Good to see you.
Hey.
So I emailed you something that turned out to be an earlier version. So what
Mhm.
I'm going to read doesn't quite match it.
Okay.
This is called a triptych cube form, and
Cool.
essentially it's basically it's actually when I this is the first time I heard of Christina Doucette's thing, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of hers. This is a series of either haiku or senryu. There's 9 of them and 3 lines each, so they end up being 27 lines altogether. The first line of each stanza should have 4 feet. The second line has 2 feet, and the third line has 3 feet. And then it follows this weird rhyme scheme. Well, it's not really a weird rhyme scheme, but it follows this rhyme scheme where every ending rhymes 3 times. And one of the endings is on a first line, another one is on the second line, and another is on the third line. So, for example, so the rhyme scheme, for example, A, E, B, B, F, C, C, G, D, whatever. If you go through all those and you find the A's, you'll realize that one line, which is the first line of a stanza, ends in an A. And then another one, which is the second line of a different stanza, ends in an A. And likewise on the third one. So the idea is that eventually, and I'm not done with it, but eventually you should be able to write a program, heresy, that would sort of shuffle them so that you want to have, so each line should have just one image, a complete image. You don't want to split an image between a line. So the idea is if you shuffle the lines, you should get one random line, which is 4 beats, or rather 4 feet, another random line, which is 2 feet, a third random line, which is 3, and then see if it can make sense. So that eventually you can come up with a bunch of them. So anyways, I'll go ahead and read this. So it's called Loss of Innocence. I think I included everything. But anyways, okay, here we go. I'll read it kind of quick because I don't want to take too much time. Okay. He who weeds the errant word, vultures heed, Baptist on a plate. Winter's curse the worlds conflate, past with present, corpses in the snow. Memories of mistletoe, quiet field, kisses lost and found. Acorns stiff within the ground, withered date, stripling of the sky. Singing songs of passers-by, weathered bird, silent as the stones. Cracks along the goddess bones, omens glow, pressures in the creed. Notes the buried bodies bleed, crimson bound, feasting on a pheasant. Leeches, I can't read my own writing. Leeches starving most unpleasant, which is the line up. I'm not happy with that line. Anyways, fasting fly, summer's blessed yield. Oaks the chanting druids wield, garden groans, Venus disinterred.
Well, that's really, that might be the most intricate.
That is really serious.
I'm not surprised with the full, word, word level. What's the word even for the back and forth ones he does?
Palindrome.
Palindromes.
Yeah.
The word unit
palindromes. Yeah.
I'm not surprised you got an even wilder one with a rhyme scheme.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. I mean, ideally, you'd want to read each stanza slower to get more of an image behind it. But anyways, thank you for letting me share. So.
Yeah, well, very cool. Thanks so much.
Possibly an FX hash project in the works here, I feel.
I think so, maybe, yeah.
Thanks, George.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that was George Pastana, a.k.a. Odd Writings, with the triptych cube form.
It even sounds hardcore punk.
It does, yeah. That should be a band's name, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
I am the triptych cube. That's awesome. I'm not cool enough for that name, though.
Yeah, you're always cool. All right, let's go next to Rick Pongratz.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Rick. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you too. It's good to be back. It's been a few weeks for me, so thanks for having me. So my form, I'm calling the Golden Buns.
Nice.
And it's the love child of Hyben and a golden shovel. So the goal of it is that you have written a prose poem that is then the ending words is your own haiku. So and if it's only one stanza and it's a monoku, then it's just a golden bun. It's singular, of course. So
nice. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So an oral tradition for her climate tomorrow. My daughter and I walk the trail along Jenny Lake. Beneath the mountains, ancient boulders line the hillsides as critters chitter. She asks me where the ice of the glacier goes when it recedes. Before I answer, she tells me a tale of evil chipmunks feeding on the fears of children, stealing their tears and using the salty potion to melt the snow off the Tetons so they can forage for nuts and seeds all winter and into spring. The chipmunks bathe in the sun and ride rafts of bark down the Class 4 rapids of the mountainside. They cast away their oars, dip their paws in the river of children's sorrow, and drink deep, launching over the waterfall that's higher than a dozen stories. Ancient glacier feeding the spring of children's stories.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. I love the form, and that's hard to do. It's like there were those erasure sort of revealed haiku within stuff, but to get them to fall at the exact spot, it must be really difficult.
I thought it would be easy when I started, and then I had a lot of false starts, and so I've written a couple, but it's kind of fun once.
Very cool. I like the haiku too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks,
My
Rick.
daughter went as an evil chipmunk for Halloween, so
That's awesome.
Oh, that is great. Yeah.
Aw.
thank you all.
Well, thanks, Rick. Yeah, great to see you again.
Good to see you.
Rick Pongratz with an oral tradition for her climate tomorrow. All right, and next, let's go to Mary Lisa D. Diminishes.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey, Mary Lisa. It's been a bit. Yeah, good to see you.
It has. Yeah, it was a rough summer for me. I had 2 surgeries, but
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
No, it's all good because it's good. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
great.
It's so okay. Here I go. I did not stray too far, unfortunately. I wrote a Syrian sonnet with dangling lines, like I threw an extra line in each stanza, and the rhymes are imperfect, and it's definitely a more ordinary vernacular. There's no iambic pentameter or anything going on there. So I guess it's an American Syrian. I don't know. So, all right. Wait, where did I go? Here we go. All right. Good Friday. In part because it felt so strange to kiss it. I kissed the tall wooden cross, in part to test myself. How humble could I be? To propitiate, submit, admit a need for a God in the midst of a congregation? I have to kiss the cross? I asked and grumbled. At the foot of the altar of my neighborhood church, I grumbled, under my breath, to my husband about it. I mumbled that I'd never done it, but I would do it. I was afraid of not belonging, and of belonging, afraid I would crumble under the mighty invisible fist of a God I daily prayed existed, but doubted, having seen how many others prayed without receiving answer. Our kisses, were they meant to persuade God to pay us more attention, give us special consideration? Were they given to prove our love, our devotion? Were our kisses made to prod a preoccupied God to love us back? Were our kisses driven by want of protection, derived from need? I have been driven to kiss wooden trees without prompt, and for want of no gain. I have kissed the air for simply being, and the terrain. And when, without pomp, I lift my face to kiss the rain, I rise and I sing.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love kissing the trees and kissing
Aw.
the rain. Oh, that's so nice.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I might even try something different by the end of the month. You never know. It's a great prompt. So, but it's hard. I don't rhyme as well as all you guys do. So that alone was a chore. So.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. It was Good Friday. What was what was it called again? The form?
Syrian, but with a dangling line at the end of each stanza. And it did not have, it wasn't iambic pentameter. So
yeah. Well, very cool. Well,
but
thanks
it
so much.
had a lot of heart.
Thank you. It's so
definitely
nice to
did.
be back with
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mary
Lisa.
Lisa.
All right. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, it was Mary Lisa D. Diminishes with Good Friday. And let's go next to Tina Denniclaw.
Hi.
Hey, Tina, glad you made it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the commute got longer and longer the longer we were on it. And so it was a question. Did you get my poem? I forgot to mail it to you. Did you?
Oh, I've
do you
got it. Yeah,
send
Breadwinner's
inbox?
Cookbook.
Yes.
Mhm,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is pretty short, and it's very simple. It's so simple that I kind of thought it wasn't a very good poem. A couple people that I talked to said, "Oh, this is good." And I'm thinking, yeah, you guys are just being supportive. And then AI took a look at it and said all this, like, oh, it's a new form. And then Dick informed me that AI is programmed to be very flattering. So, like now, I can't trust anybody who's going to tell me.
You
"Oh,
can
this
change your
is kind of-"
instructions and tell it to be
Mhm.
ruthless and brutal.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it can also be brutal.
They can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
It to
Yeah. Exactly. That's the scary
That's
thing.
the scary part. They can talk to
this
you
was-
in a strange accent if you want.
Or a southern
right. Well,
accent, like Jeff Stumpo with
Mhm.
Threatening to Storm.
You can even say like, don't use the letter F
Yeah.
in your replies,
Mhm.
and it will not use F words.
Oh, well,
Or
that's
it
very
will.
interesting.
Also, something you can. No, I haven't actually done that. I don't know if it would do that.
Well,
Anyway.
this AI visited me uninvited, so it runs along with any search I do in Google. So the first thing I see is always what AI has
Oh,
to
that
say
Gemini,
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was just searching, for the rhyme scheme. Does this exist already? And then and it said, oh, it's new, and then wrote a poem according to it. So it's very surprising. So, and then also, since, my husband's a scientist, and, sometimes people discover new things and then they get to name them.
Mhm.
And I never in my life thought I'd get to name a new poetry form.
Mhm.
So here, it's my friend is Punjabi, and so the poetry form here is Sakun.
Nice.
means-
Okay.
Yeah, that's comfort in the emotional sense in Punjabi. And it's because this was meant to be comforting, like obsessive with the triolet, but I didn't want it to be anxiety. I wanted it to be comforting. And then my friend told me that also when she read the AI's poem, she found that one to be comforting. So I thought, okay, let's go with that. All right, so here we go. So Breadwinner's Cookbook, 1981. Being myself, finding myself. A hippie chemistry major, making my life with my hands. Grounding myself. Honey, milk, and sorghum bread. Recipe off the back of a whole wheat flour sack. Written on the books and sheets. Grounding memories.
Well, very concise and interesting form. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's Tina Denniclaw with Breadwinner's Cookbook. And what was the name of the form again, Tina?
I'm calling it Sakun, and so it's spelled Sakoon, and it's pronounced Sakun. And the
Okay.
emphasis is on the second syllables, Sakun. But the way she says it, it sounds Indian, and the way I say it, it sounds American.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that, Tina. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that was Tina Denniclaw with Breadwinner's Cookbook. I do believe that's going to wrap up the Zoom for tonight. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to see what Ted Bernal Guevara has for us. He's got a curly hue. It's 4 lines written with an AABB rhyme scheme. It's usually whimsical and about a famous person. Mine is about animal behavior. My new direction is an additional stanza, mirror reflecting the first. Okay. So it's going to be AABB, BBAA, I guess. Here we go. This is Ted Bernal Guevara's poem, Huge Babies, he's calling it. Here we go. Huge Babies. Baby pachyderm, so many beds of interim. Choose one over the other. Doesn't matter, don't have a mother. Mother, seek me instinctively. Other milk has distaste. Interim are my nights alone. Pachyderm, thin I shall be. Well, very interesting form. That's new to me. Thanks so much for sharing that, Ted. That was what was he calling it? A curly. I love the name Curly Hue.
Curly hue.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Thanks so much for sharing that, Ted. And that's going to wrap up the prompt lines for tonight. Let's close out with a haiku. What have you got for us, Katie, for a haiku from this week?
I have one inspired by Halloween.
Ah, nice.
Kill your darlings, jack-o'-lantern. So I actually wrote like 8 versions of this, and then arrived at that one because I was trying to come up with like how the idea of like editing a poem is like how you cut up a pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern, and then I realized it's kind of kill your darlings is funnier as the second most common poetry advice after show don't tell or just writing advice in general. And then killing your darlings because it's Halloween also, I think it's, and then you have to throw the jack-o'-lanterns away.
I know. Yeah, a lot
Or
of layers
compost
to that
them.
one. Little monoku. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool, Katie. And then mine, I had a Halloween one too, but I ran a free and I went with this one instead. Partly because I saw your Halloween. Didn't want to have two
well, because I
Halloweens.
told you it. You were like fixing the
It's true.
sink, and I walked in and I was like, "Well, I wrote my haiku."
Well, good
That's
job.
our life.
So here is mine because there is a fly flying around.
Oh my God, there is.
There
Why?
is, and we just can't find it. Swatting the same fly, procrastination.
Oh my God, that's good. I really like that one. Though.
Thanks. That is my haiku for the week. Swatting the same fly, procrastination. That is the haiku for this week, and that is the show for this week. Now, next week, we got another prompt. Katie, what's your prompt going to be?
My prompt is going to be write a poem about a time you found yourself somewhere you didn't belong, but have the poem turn to somewhere that you do. So turn meaning like generally, take it however. You can turn literally in everything, but a poetic turn, like we want to go somewhere different, have a turn. Because I think it's something I've been noticing in submissions. A lot of poems are kind of on that level where I really am enjoying it, but then I feel like we're in the same place the whole poem, and I really want to see the turn. So I'm hoping to, again, focus on that.
Got to go somewhere. Can't be transformative unless something is transformed. Exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. That's going to be a fun one to do, Katie.
Great,
yeah, that's your prompt this week. Write a poem about a time you found yourself somewhere you didn't belong, but have the poem turn to somewhere that you do.
Or did. I just didn't want to put the slash. It was becoming too cumbersome
Do or
at
did?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in the present tense.
Do-do-do.
Do-do. Yeah, exactly. Didgeridoo.
All right, well, that is your prompt. If you included didgeridoo, that's up to you.
I almost added to include a weird musical instrument.
Really? Wow.
So that's funny. Bonus points for didgeridoo.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
saying it,
Okay.
Anything can happen.
Well, that is the prompt for next week. And next week's guest is going to be Kai Carlson Wee. Now, Kai, his brother Anders was on the Rattlecast, really good guest in the show a year or two ago. Kai, also a great poet. His first book, to much acclaim, was Rattle, which came out years ago. He's got a sequel, is that what you're going? And the next book up, much awaited, is coming out next year. He's going to read poems from that. A new one from that book is in our current issue of Rattle. We're looking forward to talking to Kai. That's Kai Carlson Wee. Rattlecast number 317. Looking forward to that. Monday, November 10th, the regular time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hope to see you there. Hope you have a great week. In the meantime, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Good night.